Our guy's in a tough position, really. I'm not gonna make any excuses for him, but look, I was tired, and maybe it's because I'm 65 years old, but we got back we probably didn't go to sleep till 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then had a quick turnaround and play. And that was like mud wrestling. You know, they're physical, they're good defensively, they're strong. You know, we just couldn't put them out. You know, we had some open ones to put them out, we didn't. But look, we survived, and we knew we had to survive in advance. We didn't have to be pretty, but we had to survive in advance, so I give our guys credit. So as bad as Jimmy was in the first half, and I can say this because I told him directly, and we both laughed about it, as god-awful as he was in the first half, he won the game for us in the second half. That's a good thing about me, you get directness and honesty.
After what was a close start, you turned to your bench and the Drame brothers came out against their former team, kind of gave you guys a spark to that 12-0 run. Talk about their play and what they were able to do early in that game.
I thought they played better than anybody we had, really. The one thing about them is they're going to put a lot of time into the game, and they're going to play as hard as they can play every single day, every single minute that they're out there. So I don't think there's any question that they were the impetus for us winning.
Mentioning Trey's rough first half, part of that was some turnovers against the press. Any concern going forward against facing teams that are going to press you hard? Anything you feel like you need to work on now?
I mean, we need to work on it, but we kind of solved it in the second half. We really didn't have any problems. We just threw it to the wrong color uniforms. I felt like I was coaching in the 5th grade. You know, I don't know, but that's how he is. Like, sometimes he'll explode, and then sometimes he'll make some plays that'll just baffle you. But in the end, he's always going to make plays that matter.
Day had that steal 4 seconds in.
You don't mind me laughing at that, right? No. I'm just glad you didn't fall and crack your head open on that thing.
No, I had it under control, Coach.
Really, that was really graceful.
Appreciate it.
Good boy. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You're fine. Day had that steal 4 seconds into the second half. It's not the first time we've seen him instinctually make a play like that this season. How much of a benefit is it to have a defensive player like Day in moments like that?
Was it Day or Trey? I can't remember.
It was Day.
Day on that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, Day's going to play hard every night. You know, he didn't have a great night shooting the ball, but he plays hard, and one thing he's going to do is he's going to make free throws. And so he's a good teammate. You know, he's really worked hard at the defensive end to get better, and that was a big play that got us out of the box a little bit in the second half.
How do you feel you guys were able to defend the perimeter tonight, maybe first half to second half? It seems like they always just had a timely three to pull out of the back pocket. To your point about them just hanging around, refusing to go down quietly.
They made 8 threes tonight. That's the most threes they've made all year. You know, so we caught them on a nice night for them. I thought, relatively speaking, their 5-man made 2 threes, which, you know, when that happens, you're in a little bit of trouble. And then they made open threes, which they haven't done most of the year. They've won. He's a good coach. Like, he changes defenses on you. He'll press you. He'll play zone. He'll play man. They're very physical. You know, he's with Danny Hurley at Wagner before he got the head coaching job. So, you know, they teach toughness. But they made 8 threes tonight, which made it a more interesting game than maybe it normally would have been.
You got in the usual production that you've seen from Fusini Drame, but past couple of days, Hassan has sort of given you also what have you seen from him in his development that sort of got him sort of on par with his brother lately?
I thought Hassan has had 2 really good games in a row. If you look at the plus minus in the first half, it was really good today, and he had a really good plus minus at Marshall. And funny story is, I asked both Drames yesterday if they were tired, and they said, no, you know why. And that's a good thing, man. They want to play more and more and more. So you could take it personally and say that's a bad thing, but I like it because they want to play. So they said, you know why. So basically saying, because of you, dumb, right? And so they played well, and they deserve it because they put time in every single day.
And speaking of which, David Dixon also another game with 5 blocks. And you sort of, in past few games, had those 3 come together off the bench and sort of have rotations outside foul trouble. With Trey Williams potentially returning soon, how's that going to affect your front court rotation now that you seem to finally had a pattern?
You had to ask me that. We got Trey Williams, and Duquesne's gonna come back too. So like Duquesne's probably a game and a half from playing. So you answer the question. I really don't want to deal with it right now. I'm gonna enjoy the win and then see 16 guys miserable because they're not playing as much as they want to play, which is.
So there's a chance Duquesne could be ready for Santa Clara? Possibility at least?
I mean, I think certainly for Cleary, and then we'll see how it goes with him. But he started to non-contact practice, and he's moving good, and he's a hard worker too now, and with a good brain. So, you know, it's a hard deal because those young big kids are getting better. You know, you can see him, even Chabi, like he did some good things tonight. Not all the way there yet, but those guys are getting better. They're protecting the rim pretty good. They're icing ball screens well, you know, so it won't be easy. And then Trey, you know, we got a pretty good deal with Andre and Fusini splitting that 4 spot. It's tough. You know, and then you're talking about Jakob, who we cut back a little bit because he was sick. And Matouche and those guys, it's like we probably got the best 10 through 13 in the league, right? We may not have the best 5, but that puts pressure on the coach and the players. It's hard. I feel for them. It's hard. You can't be happy. Even when your team wins, you still have to think about yourself a little bit, right? Like, so your question's a really good one, but the only way I know how to do it is play who's playing the best. Right? That's the only way I know how. And so it might mean Hassan, using him as an example, gets 20 minutes one night and 10 the next, or, you know, and then, you know, maybe we snip a little bit at Jimmy, Kareem, and Day just to try to freshen them up a little bit. But the hard part about that is now you're playing, you don't want too many guys out there at one time that are, you know, that's the hard part too, is how many, and then how do you get any rhythm like that? That's hard. I tend to do it a little more in the first half than the second half. That was a long-winded answer.
Can you take us behind the scheduling curtain? How'd you end up with 2 games in 3 days here?
If you knew how hard it is to schedule, I mean, we were scared to death we weren't gonna have enough games. Like, we couldn't. So St. Peter had one date, and we said, oh, the hell with it, we'll just play. I mean, we didn't have any choice. Rick Christensen will tell you, because he's involved in it, it's like, now you go into September trying to get games. Before, you used to be done in April. It's ridiculous. So it's not smart. Now we're off for 10 days, right? We don't play for 10 days. That's not smart either. You know, and then we went a week, and then we played 2, and, you know, do what you gotta do though.
Is there an advantage to, I mean, I know it's not ideal to have 2 games in 3 days, but is there an advantage to it, especially when you consider postseason play?
Well, I think there's an advantage period. Like, guys really don't want practice all that much. They'd rather play than practice. And, you know, we have enough guys that we could survive it. You know, we survived it. I thought our guys played hard. You know, we didn't always get it done, but we played hard. And then you're right. You gotta win 3, 4, 5 games, right? Like, boom, boom, boom. So yeah, there's an advantage, and we've done it multiple times this season, right? We played 3 games in 8 days, something like that.
3 and 5.
3 and 5.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So like, you got to have enough juice to win the tournament. So in some ways, it's a good point. It's not great when it happens, though. Anything else?